Because like Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and I would like to invite you.
Has life's unexpected.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you're joining us from. I am so excited to welcome you today to Mactavi's webinar, the Transition to Tech, Skills, Steps, and Secrets to Succeed. So everybody knows tech is where the industry that is booming now. So a lot of people want to move into tech. So how do you move from a non-tech role to a tech role? So that is what this webinar is about. So if you're looking for how to transition or you're looking for insight that will guide you, we are here to make clear how you can go about it, the ways you can go about it, and how to also succeed in it, how to succeed from moving from a non-tech role to a tech role. So I actually can't wait for you to hear from our speakers. I can't wait for you to hear from our speakers. We have industry experts. We have two amazing, very amazing speakers that are here to share their insights and also how to succeed in tech in general. So we have an amazing lineup today, and I actually can't wait to hear from our speakers. But before we get started, let's make this as engaging as possible. Throughout the session, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll tackle them during the Q and A segments. And also, if you know a friend or you know someone that can benefit from this webinar, call them now, send them a text message and tell them my service is holding a webinar on how to transition to tech and that they need to be here. So without further ado, so let's start. So our first speaker for today is Olha Onchichenko. She is the co-founder and project manager at Code Lockup. Olha brings extensive expertise in project management and sales. She also transitioned from a non-tech background into a tech background. I mean, she's the co-founder of an IT cloud computing company. So she definitely came from a non-tech background to a tech background. So she's a real powerhouse in the tech space, and get ready to learn from her incredible experience. I mean, when we're looking for a speaker and I reached out to Olha, like, you are one of the best fits for this webinar and it'd be amazing to have you on board. So Olha, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. And do you see my name as Olha or is someone else?
Sorry?
I mean, in Zoom. In Zoom, do you see my name as Olha or someone else?
It's someone else.
It's so weird. I have no idea why. Okay. I think it's Zoom glitch or something. Okay. My name is Olha. I will be happy to share my journey and help you. We'll have a Q&A after, so you can ask me some questions. Okay, so I live in Vancouver in Canada now. I moved here 2.5 years ago. Just so you know where I'm based, we have 8 a.m. here, so good morning to everyone who has morning as well. Um, so I'll start from the very beginning. I graduated from I'm from Ukraine originally, and I graduated from Karazin University. A lot of people, I see that there are a lot of people from Nigeria here. I know we have a lot of Nigerian people in Kharkiv, in my city. Maybe a lot of people know this city, and maybe they even graduated from there. So I know a lot of people from Africa that I've met in Kharkiv. So just wanted to share this information with you. So I graduated from the sociology bachelor's. So I wanted to work with people because I felt like I wanted to be a journalist, honestly. Like when I was studying sociology, because it's like you're learning more about people. This is science about people and humanity in general. And I thought it will help me to become a journalist. But then I realized that the journalism itself started to change with internet, with technologies, and I also felt that it's a little toxic environment for me. And I also married my husband when I was 19, so we decided to travel. And we moved to Dubai. We lived there for 2 years. And my first ever like big experience was working in Zara as a sales representative. And I learned English there. I learned English in school, but conversational English and just like basic English are very different things. So I learned there how to have a conversational English with some Arabic accent because you catch Arabic accent even though you're not Arabic. It's hilarious because now when people who stayed there from Russia, from Ukraine, from Kazakhstan for more than 10 years, they have very strong Arabic accent. Like I watch their videos, just hilarious. So we were there for 2 years, then we traveled the world. We've been in 34 countries and we traveled for 5 months in a row in Europe and South America. And then we came back to Ukraine, and I started to think what I want to do, like what is my next journey, which area do I want to choose for myself? And I started to look into marketing because it felt like it's also working with people, with society, understanding them, a little bit of psychology there as well. So, and I was always communicative, and I'm like, feels like marketing suits me. And my first interview that I got was in the agency in Ukraine. The name of the role was telemarketer, and it gave me a thought that this is related to marketing. But the role itself was a sales manager. So they just named it as telemarketer because like you have to sell SEO optimization to clients, um, and you have to still understand how marketing works. But this is still not a marketer, you like, or not a marketing manager. But then I was like, I mean, it's better to start with something than with nothing. But I hadn't realized that this is not what I wanted. But now I understand how important that step was because to sell SEO optimization or any services like this, you really have to know how it works. So we had a lot of trainings about how to analyze the website, because you have to make sure that the client, your future client, because we were doing cold calls, so they didn't know that I am calling them. They were working on the basis. We had like an account who was collecting the basis and the names of the owners or someone who makes the decision. And then we already had the base with the name, and we needed to call like a new service. So they had no idea what plan to call. So cold calls are pretty hard for people who had never experienced in that. And to make a person interested, and so my goal was to bring them to the office. And to bring them to the office, you need to make them interested in your service and give them some value. And to give them some value, you need to analyze their website, check their competitors, understand what's the difference between their competitors and the client, and try to persuade and convince them that we like our company can really help them better, even if they already have someone. Um, and again, to make sure you make it, you should really analyze the website. You should be like a technical analytic a little bit. So we also had some sales scripts that we needed to learn, and of course, sales part was there as well. So I needed to bring them to the office, and then in 2 months, I got a promotion, and I was already the person who was talking with them in the office. So like a official I was a technical specialist. I was called as a technical specialist, with whom they planned to, who telemarketers invited them to speak with me, even though I'm in the company only for 2 months, but I was already technical specialist. So uh, our main goals were sales targets. How much do we bring? How much money do we bring? And we need to hit that targets. And I was really good in that until they started to, because every month the targets were going upper and upper and upper. This is how sales team works. So I felt like, and also they invited a consultant he was very, his approach didn't suit me as a human, I would say. And I felt that it's not for me anymore. And plus, me and my husband, we decided that we want to travel again. And considering we want to change locations, we need to have a job that suits, that can be remote. So after I worked as a sales manager, I left. I uh, decided that no, sales is not for me. And then COVID started. I mean, like it almost started. We didn't know yet. And the owner of the company who worked in the company where I worked as a sales manager, she decided to open her own company, and she invited me as head of sales. And I wasn't sure if I want to do it or not because I already decided that I'm kind of don't want to be in sales anymore, but I'm like, I need a job, and head of sales is a little different. It's already like a management position, so you have different, you still have to sell, but you also manage the team, and it's a little bit different. So I said yes, and in a week or two, COVID hit. So it was so on time because like after COVID, it was very hard to find a job. So I worked there remotely, and then when COVID like started to low a little bit, they got an office, and I already was in the office training the team, and I was the one who set the target. So I was kind of already in a different position, but again, I still had my own targets, and the team itself, the sales team had their targets, so we needed to hit them. And then after, so it was still COVID, and this is when we decided we want to travel and see the world. And even in COVID, it was still possible in some countries. Yes, we needed to do tests all the time, but we really wanted to go somewhere. Um, and and my husband, he already worked as an IT specialist, and he did everything on his own. So he didn't learn IT or anything related to IT in the university. He was working as a photographer in Dubai, and he decided that he wants to shift from photography to IT. And he was educating himself for half a year on his own. And then he got his first job, the one that he didn't really like, but just for the experience. And then the second job, the third job. So he was already the IT specialist. And he was the one who told me that, you know, in IT, there is a project manager like position. So you can try to, you know, try to go in there because project managers, they are very communicative. They also work with people, and they have to push others to do the work. And considering I was a sales manager, and sales, like if you worked in sales, you know how to push people. It's like it sounded like a very good fit for me. So I started to search for a job, and I found it pretty fast because um, they were searching for a project manager in another agency. So it was the competitor of the company where I worked before. And that agency was really interested to hire me because I was working in in their competitor's company, and they felt like they felt like they have success just because they will hire me. Doesn't matter which position, just because I worked in in the other agency before. And of course, so yeah, I got that position. I worked there for a year. It was more like an account management position because I didn't work with the team directly. I mean, I still kind of managed them, but I was mostly on the client side, so I needed to make sure that everything is delivered how client wants, and also to calm them down if needed. And there they had three services. It was SEO optimization, SMM, social media management, and SEO optimization. If somebody doesn't know what it is, because I keep repeating this thing, is search engine optimization. So it's a service that is so we are making sure that if you write the keyword in the Google search, let's say your business is doing, let's say you sell bags. So if I write to buy a bag in Canada or to buy a bag in Nigeria, I will see your website on the first page, but ideally in top three. So this is it's organic search service. So and also that company, they were having PPC so this is already ads, paid ads. And the company was selling those, and clients were coming to me, and I was kind of leading them. Um, and it also helped me to learn more because every marketing in general also have technical aspects. like SEO, SMM, and paid ads because they use Google Analytics, they use different research, analytic tools. So this is kind of brings you a little bit to the technology side, not fully, but a little. And then I was working as a project manager in very different companies from in different environments. And I would say, closest experience to IT was when I worked in Neomi. It was a startup, and they were searching for a project manager. Mm, and it was my first startup experience, and it was a lot of work. And I was doing not only project management work, but also I was just helping the owner, like an assistant, in different tasks, like, for example, book the office in Los Angeles, even though I'm not in Los Angeles. And I just kind of started my journey in the North America. I wasn't even in North America back then. So we were traveling still. And so I was working with the marketing side and also with the IT specialists, but still not on full cycle. But I was setting up the documents. I was making sure that everyone knows where to find everything. And I was speaking, and I was also talking with different agencies, marketing related and IT related. So when you I have to say that job made me like every job made me learn something. And because they were so different every time and the setting were different. And first I was working in the agencies, but then it was more like working on one client. Every time I was learning something new and people behavior as well, and how to approach different stakeholders. So, of course, every experience gave me a lot, every job gave me a lot of experience and value. Um, and then, so yeah, Naomi was when it was my like first IT experience. Um, and then I'm checking my resume so I don't miss anything. Um, and then we moved to Canada, and we realized with my husband that we want to learn, maybe we want to create something on our own. And we started to work on the idea that we had. And so he's an IT specialist, he's a DevOps engineer, and I was working on the marketing side and also, again, building the document, building project risks, register, and sales as well, and social marketing. So we were working on the presentations and marketing strategies. So when you want to create something and sell and pitch, this is you have to really bring a lot of like all the skills you had before. We were trying, we were learning a lot, but still, and I was learning a lot of things about IT. I was lucky because my husband is an IT engineer, so he could explain a lot of things to me. But if your partner is not an IT engineer, I'm sure you always have a lot of friends who do this. And or there is an amazing platform, ADP List, where I am a mentor right now, and there are a lot of talented mentors around the world, and you can take free sessions with them and ask them questions about IT industry and ask them to talk about their journeys as well, and they will happily help you with um, how to transition your skills to the position you need, or they can help you to just understand if this position is for you, the one that you want. Um, so yeah, just wanted to double check. How many minutes do I have? How many minutes left?
You have about 2 minutes, but I can give you like an extra
Okay,
5. So
okay,
7 minutes.
great. Okay, thank you. Um, Great. So yeah, when I moved to Canada, I started to search for a job as well because I needed a job. I needed an experience in Canada, and I found a job in a prospect as a media manager. So again, it was more marketing related, not IT at all. And but I was searching for something in IT, but I found it very difficult to find something in IT unless you really have a good experience, like from 3 to 5 years as a Scrum Master. So in IT world, there is no really project manager. There is Scrum Master, product owner, and these are the positions you have to choose from. What is the most like what is better for you? Um, I can just briefly say that Scrum Master is mostly working on in the team and on the processes in the team. And he's the one who has to make sure that everything is um, under the Scrum methods and everything is going as it's supposed to be by Scrum rules. And also like the time management, budget management, and if the scope is the same. And the product owner, he's mostly working on the client side. So he needs to make sure that the quality of the product, so it can be the app, the tool, the website, so any service or tool that the IT team is creating. So product owner has to make sure that what they are building is aligned with the client needs. And also, he's the one who is interviewing the future clients or the current clients. He's the one who recommends some changes to the tools or features. So I would say both of these positions, product owner and Scrum Master, are very important, but product owner is more complex. And so product owner and Scrum Master, they work in the same team to make sure that the product is delivered, the good product is delivered on time and within the budget. So yeah, if you want to work in the IT, you have to understand what is better for you. Do you want to work with the team, or you mostly you mostly want to work with the client and just communicate with Scrum Master? So yeah, product owner should have a lot of knowledges to understand the users and to build the user workflow and so on. So yeah, coming back to my experience, I worked in a prospect as a media manager for a year. I honestly it was the most boring job for me because I was having like one, two, or three responsibilities. It's a huge company, and comparing to what I was having before, I felt like this is this is just not what works for me. I like to be active. I like collaborative environment. I like to be heard. And this is not the environment I really enjoyed. But I had a lot of free time. And in that free time, also I realized that my skills are not so because I'm not doing so much as a project manager, I can lose my skills and the one that I was, collecting before that experience. So I started to realize I need to get a certification, maybe project management certification. I started research and by the way, at that point, I already had a Prince2 certification and I got it, I think, like 2 years. So it was when we came to Canada, it was 2022. So I got Prince2, I think, like in 2021 or 2020, end of it. Um, and Prince2 certification, anyone can pass it. I mean, you don't have there is no requirements to pass Prince2, but this is a really good start if you are new to project management in general, to understand how project management works. Prince2 is more about waterfall approach, but it's good to know even if you work in agile environment because you can use the documentation that you learned from Prince2 in agile as well. And also, there are a lot of companies with a hybrid approach. So you can always match what you learned from waterfall approach with agile. And I decided that I need another certification that is more valuable. And I found I didn't find PMP. I knew about PMP, but for PMP, you should have 3 years of experience. And I was like, but I don't have 3 years of experience. I was having, I think, 2 years of project management experience at that point, and 1 year as head of sales. And I thought it's not enough, but then I made a research and I realized no, it's enough because they need management experience. They don't need project management. It should be any management experience. So I applied and they accepted my application to pass the exam. and I started to prepare. And in the end of 2022, I passed PMP certification. I also have a video on my YouTube channel, how I did that and what resources helped me. And if you want, I can share it with you later. And or maybe someone from the conference, maybe Efe Oluwa can share it with you. So after that, I worked as a media manager for a year, and it was a contract so I was subbing someone who was on maternity leave. So it was a contract for a year, and I couldn't extend it. And then but when I came to Canada, the manager from Lululemon reached out to me and she asked if I'm interested to work on the 3 month contract. I said no, because I needed a 1 year experience. And then in a year after my contract ended, I texted her and I said, hey, maybe you have some opportunities. And she said, oh, yes, we're searching for a project manager and for a 4 month contract. I said yes, because Lululemon, I'm not sure if you're aware what this company is about, because I don't know if Nigeria heard of it, but Lululemon is pretty big companies in North America. It's a retail company and they sell sports clothes, and they have very good quality clothes. So it's like a luxury sports on the level of with like Nike, Adidas, and so it was a really good for your portfolio to work there. So they hired me for 4 months and they extended the contract. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I would have to stop you or pause you on
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Reach the
Yes, I will just finish on IT very quick. So how did I come to IT? My husband is an IT engineer, and all this journey that I had, he was kind of
okay,
educating
I'm
me.
sorry.
Plus, yeah.
Oh, can we circle back on this? The other speaker is quite of in a time crunch, so she would
Okay,
need
no worries. Sorry.
to
Of course. Yeah.
circle back, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oha. So I will be introducing our next speaker. And we have an amazing person, Sophia Matviva, who is the CEO and founder of Tech for Non-Techies. So I would let Sophia have the floor now.
Hi, everybody. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, I'm just about to start sharing my presentation with you. So, can we all see my presentation? Can somebody tell me, yes, I can see it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, awesome, great. Thank you very much for joining me today. Oh, that's the wrong presentation. There's one I prepared just for you. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Now, can you guys see this one? Yes? I'm assuming it's a yes. Can you all see okay?
Yes, it's on now.
Okay, great, awesome. Well, if there are any issues with the connection, just send me a note or just speak up. Okay, so basically, this is me. I do run a company called Tech for Non-Techies. I have taught about technology and entrepreneurship at Oxford University in the UK, at London Business School, at Chicago Booth. In the US, I have written for the Financial Times, for the Harvard Business Review, for Forbes, and so on. So I have worked with and taught and written for some of the world's most elite institutions about technology and innovation. But this is not about me. This is actually one of my, I'm going to just be honest with you, this is one of my favorite students. This guy is called Nasi. He was my student at London Business School. And when I first met him, He wanted to get into the world of software. He wanted to get into the world of tech, and he wanted to be a tech entrepreneur, but he didn't know anything about software. And so he took my Tech for Non-Technical Founders course, and this was years ago now. So I'm going to do a big fast forward. So he graduated with his MBA from London Business School. He then actually created his first ever tech company. He created a company called Umwoga, which is a social network for blue collar workers, which was operating in Johannesburg. He did that for about 3 years, and they were making revenue. You know, they were helping people find jobs, which was amazing. And then he shut that company down, and then he got an extremely prestigious job as the head of product in an ed tech company. So he did go through this transition. And obviously, I spent a lot more time with Nasi than I have with you today, but I'm going to try to pack in as much of the information that I taught here, but like literally, he was with me, he was my student, so it's not going to be the same. But I'm also going to give you some links of resources that I've created, which are free, so you can carry on learning. But I'm really proud of him. Okay, so the opportunity, as you guys know, it's in tech. There are more jobs, there are acquisitions, there's innovation, there's money, which I'm deeply interested in getting as much as possible. And I'm assuming if you're here, you know, on a Saturday, you are an action taker, which means that you're resourceful. And that means that you're my kind of person. Because, you know, I am currently in Bahrain. I am literally on a white sand beach. I am, and you know, I'm Russian, so me and the previous speaker were from, you know, similar part of the world. We do not have sunny, beachy Decembers. So I'm here on my holiday, but I'm talking to you because you know, I'm resourceful too. And you might feel like tech is impenetrable if you don't have a technical background. So I'll tell you, you know, I kind of have an English accent. I'm Russian, so how did that happen? So I grew up in London, and I started my career working in the media, and then I worked in finance in London. And then I got my MBA from one of the world's top business schools, and I paid $180,000 for my MBA, which is a lot, right? And they didn't teach me anything about technology or anything about software. And I remember thinking, well, this is terrible because the whole world, like, you know, some of the best jobs are in tech. So if you're not teaching me anything about it and I'm giving you all this money, you're kind of, it's like robbery, right? Which is why I've now been so passionate about teaching a business course, because I don't want other students to go through this thing. And I decided to start a tech company. So kind of like Nasi's journey, I decided to start a tech company. And as a non-technical person, it was very difficult because I didn't know, should I learn to code? Should I do product management? So I tried to learn to code from the Stanford course. I was taking product management. And I was also, you know, doing all these other random courses, like trying to learn R for statistics and also running a company. You know, this is not a good way to live. And also it's very expensive and you know, not necessarily a recommended path. So what happened then is that I started writing for Forbes, and you know, you can find these articles. I started writing for Forbes, and I then noticed that I was writing about my journey as a non-technical person in tech. And I started seeing that lots of other people were interested in also being a non-technical person in tech. And so there were lots of other people who were interested in, how do I get into tech without becoming a developer or becoming a data scientist? Because that's basically what I did. And so today, in just the shortest amount of time possible, I'm going to give you some case studies and some lessons, so then you can apply them to yourselves. So the first lesson I'm going to share is, well, the first lesson I want you to know about is that in every company, doesn't matter if it's tech, doesn't matter if it's fashion or retail, whatever, you need people who make the product and people who sell the product. You know, so like Steve Jobs, he was the marketer, he was the salesperson. And then there was Steve Wozniak, who was the engineer, he was the maker. So if you're a non-technical person, you're probably going to be the seller of the product, kind of like what Olga was saying just before. So you need to focus on your sales and personal skills. And don't worry, you know, about becoming somebody else, because there's lots of space for you to be working on that side of the business. I have also noticed that the way the tech sector's changed and the way tech companies have changed is the emphasis on coding, the emphasis on you having to code has changed. You don't have to code to work in a tech company. And I've seen some research that actually says that 54% of jobs in tech companies are not technical. So here are some jobs. I'm just going to give you some examples. They need user experience designers. They need community managers. They need product strategists. They need people who are learning, who are using no-code tools. Many of my students are using no-code tools. And so what do all of these have in common? Write into the chat box. What do all of these jobs, and I'm actually going to look in the chat box, what do all of these jobs have in common? Can you hear me okay? I'm going to, so tell me, okay, so in that case, somebody tell me, what do you think user experience design? Okay, I'll stop. I'll just move on because we don't have time. But essentially, what they all have in common is humanity, like being able to communicate with non-technical people. So what you need to know, like you need to know something about technology, but you don't have to be a coder. So concept matter, but skills don't. I'm going to show you what I mean. So here's somebody I interviewed for my podcast, Tech for Non-Techies, and I'm going to send you the link in a minute. So this guy is now one of New York's top angel investors. He is now actually 70 plus startups. And he started his first technology company in his 20s, which he sold for many millions. And he is a non-technical founder, so he's not a coder. And so essentially, he saw a business opportunity while he was working in a completely non-technical field. He built a non-technical solution, and then once basically started working, he hired a team, he grew it, and then he sold it. And you can hear his full story on my podcast, and I'll send you the link. But essentially, I wanted to share this quote from you. Whether you want to be a non-technical founder or you want to work in tech, this is what he says. You should become fluent and knowledgeable of software trends and best practices. Learn how to manage a technical endeavor from both a project and a product standpoint, but you will not get credit or a moral victory for becoming an average coder in a world that only values excellence. So if you want to be a coder, if you want to become a full-time developer, go and do that. But if you don't want to be a developer, there are lots and lots of options for you. So first of all, learn the basics of tech, but you don't have to do a massive retraining course. I'm just going to send you basically a video lesson. I'm just going to put it into the chat that you can, there's loads more, but essentially you can just start with it. There's a useful video lesson that I made. Learn how to speak tech, learn how to work with developers, but you certainly don't need to become a coder. So I'm going to show you lesson 2. This is about a lady called Juliet. So Juliet began her career as a journalist, and she then ended up, she basically, when she was a journalist, working in the UK, working at the Telegraph, she was filing her stories as a journalist in the Telegraph app for journalists. And she kept on giving feedback about how the app should be improved to the team that was making the app. And long story short, they found her feedback so useful, they kept on inviting her in and saying, can you give us more advice, give us more insights, like how can we make this app for journalists better? And eventually, when a job and product management opened up at the Telegraph, they said, you know what, we know you're a journalist, but would you be interested in maybe taking this product management job and joining us so you can create basically apps for the Telegraph? And that's what she did. And the reason why she could do this, the reason why she got this job is the Telegraph product team. They were all a bunch of tech people. There were product managers who'd never been journalists. There were designers who'd never been journalists. There were developers, right? And what they needed to make a product for journalists, they needed a journalist to basically learn their skills and to help them really understand their user. So my advice to you is whatever you do, like maybe even your hobbies, you can actually use your hobbies, you can use your current experience as a move into product management. So for example, I know somebody who's a very keen athlete. He loves running. You know, he runs marathons, he's competed in marathons and so on. And he has joined a fitness app to help them on their product team because he knows a lot about running. And essentially, he's kind of the resident expert, and he's now transitioning into product management. So even your hobbies can actually help you make that transition if you are joining the kind of company that where you can advise product managers on how the users are going to use your product. So here's another lesson for how you could transition into tech without becoming a technical person. This is a guy called Ronan Walsh. Again, I interviewed him on my podcast. And by the way, as I keep on telling you about my podcast, I'm just going to send you the link to it. So Ronan runs a marketing agency. So remember, we talked about, actually, I'll send it to you in a second. Here is an episode with Nasi, who is fabulous and very clever. Anyway, so Ronan, he runs a marketing agency. So he is not a tech person, but he decided he wanted to be part of the tech boom. And so he decided that his marketing agency was only going to specialize in working with tech clients. So he only works with software as a service companies. So you could literally be a lawyer who transitions into tech by only working with tech clients. And there are lawyers who've made an absolute fortune by working with startups, you know, for free or for like very low money. And then essentially as the startup scales and becomes more successful, they basically charge them more, but they also take a percentage. So when that company goes to IPO, they're in the money. So whether you're a marketer, you could do this. Whether you're a lawyer, you could do this. Whether you're an accountant, you could do this. Any kind of profession, you know, if you're choosing which kind of clients to work with, tech clients are some of the most lucrative people that you can work with. Okay. So get tech clients. That's my lesson 3 for you. And the previous speaker mentioned Lululemon. So I don't know how many people, maybe especially the boys, might not be aware of Lululemon because it's kind of a girly thing. But especially this is like the background image is a girl in Lululemon clothes. It's like nice workout gear, mostly quite girly. So like leggings, you know, workout tops. And so this is not a tech company, right? It doesn't look like a tech company. But this company ended up buying this thing. You see this screen thing? This screen thing is called Mirror. So that's basically a hardware tech product where essentially you can work out and, you know, there's like an avatar trainer there who tells you how to work out and you follow them. And so I wanted to show you this example because Lululemon is a clothing company. It's a nice girly clothing company. And this company ends up buying a tech company. So Lululemon is still a clothing company, but there is a bit of them that is, you know, very heavily technological. So what I want you to see is that actually you have many more options than you probably think, because I don't want you to just think, oh, you know, working in tech means working at Amazon or working at Apple. Actually, no, you know, there are lots of companies that have digital transformation or innovation departments or that have made acquisitions like Lululemon did. So my recommendation to you is don't only think about the traditional tech companies, but also think about companies that are basically working on interesting tech innovation. Even, you know, for example, Starbucks, they have a really awesome app. You could join the digital team of Starbucks and you are then transitioning into tech. By the way, wherever you're working, if you're working in a large company already, there will probably be some sort of innovation or digital transformation department. If you don't know who they are, just go and talk to them, introduce yourself and say, hi, I'd love to learn about what you do. Can we go for coffee? And I have quite a few students who basically transition that way. You know, maybe they're working in a big company in something completely non-technical. They started speaking to the innovation people. They got to know them. Opportunities started opening up. They collaborated on projects, and then they made their full transition. Okay. I want to share this lesson with you, and I'll share the podcast episode. So this is a kind of a sneaky thing to do. There's more in this episode because I know we need to finish up soon, but essentially, what you can do is like if you're trying to transition career, it's really difficult because you need a job to get a job, right? Like you need experience in tech to get experience in tech. But if you don't have experience in tech, like how are you going to do it? It's really difficult, right? So here's a hack. You can essentially volunteer part-time, definitely not full-time. Do not do this full-time because you need full-time, you need to focus on making money and going to like your normal job, right? But part-time, volunteer as an advisor to a startup. And wherever you are, there will be some startup founders who are trying to, make an app or build some sort of platform. They will, like, if you don't know them, just go on startup forums, just basically meet some startup founders and start offering them some help for free. Eventually, ask if you can become an advisor to their startup. In this episode, like I talk about how to do that because I'm an advisor to a startup led by this lady, that's the CEO. Anyway, so when you do that, you will actually have a tech role to put on your LinkedIn profile and to put on your resume. So that way, it's going to be easier for you to make the transition because when people say, well, you've never worked in tech, you've never, maybe you've got some certifications, maybe you've taken some courses, but you never actually have been involved in a tech company. We are worried about taking a chance on you. You can say, well, no, actually, I've been involved in this tech startup. I've been involved in, I don't know, community management. I've advised them on product. I've advised them on marketing. And actually, that's a really good way to get your foot in the door. Okay, so advise a startup. That's your lesson 5. There are some important concepts. We clearly don't have time right now, but essentially listen to the podcast or watch the YouTube channel because we do talk about there's lots more on the podcast. The YouTube channel is like fairly new, so it's not as big, but all of these lessons we actually cover on the podcast, and obviously it's all free. And what I would suggest is keep learning. So I've given you the podcast, I've given you YouTube. Basically, stay in touch, connect with me on LinkedIn or just follow me on LinkedIn. I don't always check it. And now I am going to open up the floor to questions to make sure that we finish somewhat on time. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you so much. So we are opening up the question and answer session. So if you have a question, please just leave it in the chat box. And if you want to direct it to a particular speaker, state it also. So if you have any question, just leave it in the chat box now. Any question? Let me check on YouTube because we're live streaming it on YouTube at the moment. If anyone has a question.
One of the questions that people often ask me is what courses to take. And I would be curious what people kind of think about this, but I think courses are important. So actually you can see, yes, we've got somebody literally asking that question. Do you need pros and experts for your PhD thesis and your master's? Oh no, that's something else. So people, I think, honestly, look, I run an education company. My company literally sells courses. So obviously I want people to take courses, but I also don't want you to only take courses and not get involved. I actually genuinely think it's more important for you to get involved with initiatives than to take courses. So if you had, even though I sell them, I actually think that they're like your number 2 priority. And your number 1 priority is going out and meeting people and basically getting involved with projects. And the easiest projects to get involved with are startups because they have no money and so they're desperate. So start with the broken desperate and then move on.
Okay, there are a couple of questions.
There is a question about internship opportunities. I already started responding in text, but I can say that yeah, thank you for the question. First, I work in a small company, so unfortunately we don't have any internship opportunities, but I'm sure there are a lot of them in your country, or um, I've never been as an intern, but I know in Canada this is a very common thing to become an intern after the university, or if you want to learn about something, this is also a great opportunity to do that. So yeah, that would be what I would recommend to do if you don't have any experience as well. And can I say thank you to the previous speaker, because I agreed on many points, and I think it was much more structured than I did, and you finished on time. So yeah, I really appreciate your sharings, and yeah, happy to be in the speaker board with you.
Thank you very much. And I've noticed we both have, we're both somebody else. We're both Adenika. So I don't know who Adenika
Yes.
is, but she's very popular. But that's okay.
It must be a glitch from Zoom.
That's all right.
Yes.
So I can see somebody says, why do recruiters consider country of origin even more for remote jobs instead of basic experience? Well, first of all, not all do. Some do. So honestly, I think a lot of the time it's language. So sometimes people think, okay, like will people be able to communicate in the same way? But I would also just say I've personally hired people from all over the world. I've also, like, I'm currently in Bahrain. Yes, I'm taking some time off right now, but I'm working here with the Bahrain government because my company is now creating upskilling programs, in the country. And I can see it's like a really very international environment here. So, and we're all complete, like on this webinar, there are 3 people from 3 different countries. So yes, there are some people who are going to be kind of stuck in their ways, but there are a lot of people who aren't.
I definitely agree. Canada is a very international country as well. And the companies are very versatile with different nationalities from Asia, from Africa, from Spain, or like South America. So I definitely think that, I mean, again, I agree there are some companies who have their own rules, but most of the time now, I feel like they accept much more nationalities. But I like racism still exists, unfortunately, and we have to fight for making this disappear somehow in some companies, but just focus on the companies that hire versatile people. This is what I can recommend.
Thank you very much. So someone asked a question that's to you, Oha. For someone that has 1 year experience for a Scrum Master volunteer role, is it enough to get a Scrum Master job?
How many years of experience? Can you repeat the first part? I didn't hear that.
1 year experience for a Scrum Master volunteer role. Is it
He already
enough?
has an experience.
Yes.
1 year of experience. Is it her or him? I just don't want to.
I'm here.
Okay, great. Do you have an experience? Sorry, do you have a Scrum Master certification or only experience?
Yes, I have a Scrum Master certificate. Yeah, I have.
Okay. So, and where are you searching for a job?
Yeah, currently in Nigeria and also outside Nigeria, but it's really been difficult.
Okay. Honestly, the market is difficult right now for every single position out there. I can tell that as a professional in project management for 5 years, and I have a lot of mentees who are struggling to get a job this year. And I feel it's not about your experience now, it's more about how you sell yourself. And that's why I was emphasizing on sales so much, because I feel like if you know how to sell your skills yourself and you know how to work on brand management, like your LinkedIn page, I don't know how is it working in Nigeria, if you also apply through LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is part of the process. But I feel like if you tailor your resume and your social media, professional social media, in a way that you look like you are the best fit for the role, just because of how maybe you can write some articles about Scrum Master, about your experience, participate in different networking events so you meet people. I feel like networking now is even more important than anything else, because people are tired from online remote approach, and I think that in-person connections are coming back to our lives. And I think and also it's a great skill, how to sell yourself. So I recommend you to go to some networking events related to project management or tech. I'm sure you have some. Try to meet new people, connect with them in your professional space, like LinkedIn or any other social media you have. And also make sure your profile is updated with some new information about your experience or your new knowledge, your new skills you got. Just always, so brand management, networking, and sales tactics are the most important in getting a job. Yeah.
You know, just I'm gonna have to dash now, but there's an episode I did called How to Get Headhunted on the podcast. So just look at that, because essentially I talked about how some of the LinkedIn, essentially what the LinkedIn algorithm looks like, what it looks for. And so just listen to that and basically just do it. But LinkedIn, I mean, I've had some of my most amazing opportunities on LinkedIn. So I always say to people, Instagram is fun, but unless you're Kim Kardashian, you're not going to be making money there. Like, it's fun, but you know, the like financial opportunities, career opportunities on LinkedIn. Awesome. Everybody, I'm gonna have to go. But this has been so wonderful. I've really, really enjoyed speaking to you. And thank you to Mactavis Digital for creating this and for bringing, you know, speakers. And we've got 100 people. I can just see 100 people Zoom. I know there are more people on YouTube. So thank you so much. And it has been an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining, Sophia. We really appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Bye.
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 Okay, so Oha, you can carry on.
Do you have more questions, or you want me to continue to reply on that question?
Yeah, you can continue to reply off the question.
Okay. So yeah, I was just saying that yeah, you just consider, make sure that the skills you have in the resume also have the keywords you need for the positions that are posted, because they use a lot of AI tools now, because we live in the AI world now. So make sure that you have all the keywords they need. So sometimes there's no even people who check your resume at the very first round. So it should be really, there are some tools and websites you can just write in Google search, like matching the keywords to the HR tool, and you can just insert your resume and check and take the position that you like, insert there, take your resume, upload it there, and it will say how good it is in terms of the percentage of the keywords and also what should be added there. Or you can do it in ChatGPT, just like in same thing, just insert it there and then just ask it to help you. Oh, we see someone is sharing the screen. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so that's my answer. Do we have more questions?
Yes, we do. So someone asks, I'm transitioning into customer service roles, and it's part of the tech for non-tech roles. How can one get experience into the tech world?
Customer experience, but do they still want to work in customer experience, but in tech? Did I get it right?
they're transitioning into customer service. So they want to go into customer service for like non-tech, but like into the tech industry.
Oh, okay. Um, I need to know what kind of services they were selling because I think, and also it will be much easier to understand. So I can help to transition the skills you were having to the new technical skills. I agree with Sophia, with the previous speaker, that now literally every company is a tech company because we all use a lot of different tools every day. They use like a lot of software. Just even if they don't work with tech industry directly, they work with the tools every day. So you can also, if you work in CRM, you kind of a little bit a tech person already because you know how to set up how to change the status there, you know the functionality of the tool. So you can always sell your knowledges of working in CRM because every customer management, customer advisor experience or like sales representative experience, all of it has some tools you're using. So you can always try to transition the skills you were having in sales environment to the tech environment. Also, it's very hard to help right now because I really need to understand what the person was doing and what kind of tools he or she were using. But you can always sell yourself as a person who is knowledgeable, but in tools. But of course, you have to add on top of that and always keep learning. And you need to understand the workflow and what tech is about, and to also understand what you want. Because, for example, you can still work as a customer represent a customer. I forgot the name of the position, but let's say a customer helper, but in the tech industry. And to work in the tech industry, so to be able to sell the service or the tools, you really need to learn and go deep dive in the services. So just keep learning, keep updating your knowledge with because the industry is like changing every day. And go maybe check AI tools just because to understand how AI works. And the algorithms, just like what's coming from what. I think this is very important. I see some questions in the chat. What's your advice for a full stack web developer searching for job experience? I think full stack web developer, what is cool, if you are already a full stack web developer, what's cool about it is that you can work as a freelancer and you can always find some friend who need a website. And I've seen a lot of full stack developers who just got their job from their friends or someone who, needed. So just you can create a website on your own, just any website, and then say that you have an experience just because you created a website. You can always show a portfolio and say same about designers. What I like about this job is that you can always create something without really having a job and show that you have a portfolio and experience. Okay, I'll try to cover these two more questions. How can I transition from being a volunteer as a product manager at startup for a full-time paying role as a product manager? Of course, it's very hard to come from the volunteer role to the full-time paying role. But as I said, sales tactics, brand management of your page, and try to network with as much people as you can. Try to find some product managers, mentors who are having the same experience, and they might really give you good advices, especially if it's in your country. And I can't recommend enough ADP List community. I'll write it down. I'll send it to the host now, because they have a lot of different mentors who can help you with. I hope I sent the right one. Yes, who can help you with the transitions, who can help you to respond or any questions you have especially how to find a volunteer, how to come from the volunteer role to the full-time paying role in your country. So you can find a mentor in your country. Because why is it hard to, I am in Canada, and you know, every country has their rules. So I feel you have to understand the rules of your country and what brings you to the new step, to the new step of your life, to the new step of your job search. Okay, I'm going to the next one. Is a social media manager, is it compulsory to learn SEO? I mean, social media man, you don't really have to, because those are two different spheres. It's just, but if you want to be more diverse and you want to have, I mean, it's always great to learn something new and to have more skill set in your in your portfolio. So I will never say no to learn something new, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You get what you get what I mean? Um, what advice do you have for someone with the vision of starting a tech company? Um, a lot of patience, and it's better to have someone who had an experience before, and even if he or she failed, but just someone who already kind of had a path of failing, and he knows or she knows what is better not to do. I feel like tech company, like when you start a new company, doesn't matter if it's tech company or any other company, you're learning every day a lot because you want to make it happen. You want your idea to, be on the market and to help clients and eventually get a profit from it. But to get there, you need to learn a lot of new skills. You need to have a lot of different positions at once. You can't be just a project manager. You should be everyone. And that's why I'm saying you need a lot of patience, but also um, try not to lose yourself in all of this bunch of information you are getting, because internet has so many, and you think that everything is useful, everything is important, but it's very important to stick to your gut, but also to some advisors you trust. And of course, learn more about, your space where you want to go. If it's tech company related to AI, learn about AI. It depends of what kind of company is it. Um, I have to go in like 2-3 minutes, so I'll respond on like one more question. What certification site can help to boost your CV resume? Again, it depends on the position you want. If it's a project management, there are specific project management certifications. If you want to become a developer, it's a different thing. So it's very hard to respond on this question. It's very generic. I'll go to the next one. What's your advice to a nurse who is looking to transition to tech? Kind of give examples of opportunities available for nurses in tech. As Sophia said, if you're a nurse, medical companies have a lot of tools they're using. They build, so every clinic has a website. Let's start from there. Every clinic has a lot of tools they're using. So you can take the Sophia's advice and try to find a technical department in your clinic. Maybe if you have HRs, you can try to talk with them and just try to understand how the tech tools work in your company, and say that you're interested to learn. And yeah, go for coffee with someone who already worked there and say that maybe you want to learn about the opportunities they have, and that you want to transition from nurse. But at the same time, you really have to learn about tech a lot. Like, you have the interest in nowadays is not enough. You also have to show that you already learned something on your own, because now self-education is more a thing than it was like 20 years ago. Of course, universities still kind of counts, but I think that considering how fast the world is going and moving, if you are in tech, you have to check what's going on like almost every day. And have like 1 hour, at least half an hour, 1 hour, depends on your schedule, of learning new things. Okay, one last question, and I have to go. How can I find it difficult to get a job as a virtual assistant. What do I do? Virtual assistant. I've never had experience with that. I need to check the job description to help you. But Isioma, I sent ADP list website, so you can check. You can go to my LinkedIn. You can find my profile on ADP list, and you can book a session with me, and I can help you because I need to know your background to understand how to help specifically to you. And if you have some questions like this, like I find it difficult, how can I do it? Or I want to become this, I want to get this position, how can I do it? To help, okay, I see you ask for a link. I can share my link now very quick. So yeah, you can book a session with me and I can help you directly there. It will be just much more sufficient because it's a very generic question. I need to know your personally you and what kind of experience you have to understand like specifically your situation. So yeah, I shared my link to the host. I think she'll share it with you now. Okay. I also have to go. So thank you very much for being here. I was trying, honestly, when I started to do my speech, I was like, oh my God, I thought I thought I will speak for too less. Like I thought it will be like a 10 minutes talk. That's why I started to make it very long. And then I realized that, oh my God, like it's too much now. So this is a learning opportunity for me too, because now I know that my speech takes longer than I thought.
Thank
So
you
yeah,
so much.
thank you very much for
Okay.
listening to me, and I hope I helped.
Yeah, thank you so much. So before you go, Oha, I would like to introduce our founder, Bolade. So he's going to give the vote of thanks and announcements.
Thank you very much, Hoha. It's amazing to this opportunity you've given everyone to learn from your depth of knowledge and experience. I want to say on behalf of everyone at MacTavis and also all the participants, I want to say a big thank you. I also want to thank everyone who made out time. And I know Sophia is not here, but in absentia, I'm also going to be thanking her for her time and sharing her wealth of experience with us. So thank you, Sophia. We're really grateful. So guys, you can go on ADP list. I know a lot of people, even on YouTube, we still have some questions pouring in. If you have questions for Hola, you can go on ADP list and just search for her, and I'm sure you'll be able to book a session. Yes. So with that, I think our this webinar has come to an end. But before we go, I was looking through a bunch of the questions, and a lot of people are asking questions about career, how to get started, how to choose a role in tech. And for that, what I would say is we still have a bunch of interesting sessions coming up with also very interesting and wonderful speakers. So you can follow our social media at MacTavis Digital. I think our next webinar is going to dive more into how to pick a tech career and basically the best tech career to to pick to go into for 2025. So yeah, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, McTavish Digital. Once you search it, it's going to come up. Yeah, then also we got a bunch of questions about internships, and I'd like to also mention that we have internship opportunities. At McTavish Digital, we take our interns very seriously. We have, I think, had well over 100 people pass through our internship programs. A bunch of them have left to work elsewhere, and a bunch of them still work within the company. So once they do the internship and they're skilled enough to work on projects, we start putting them on projects. So that we have a very structured internship program. I'll be dropping a link if you're interested in the internship. I'll drop in a link to a form that you can fill to get access to our internship program. Yeah, I would also like to thank Ifeoluwa. She's been the person you've been seeing. She and Ifeoluwa and the rest of the McTavish team, they played a very pivotal role in, reaching out to speakers, organizing everything. So I'd also like to say thank you. I'm dropping the link to our internship form now. You can fill that. I'm also, I think, dropping the link to our Instagram so that you can follow us to get updated on our next webinars. So yeah, with that said, I would like to bring this to a close. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. So if you're interested in the internship, the link is in the chat box. And also forget to follow us on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. The recording is also available on YouTube. So if you want to always go back to watch it, you can just search us on YouTube at McTavish Digital. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much. We hope it was an insightful session. See you at our next webinar.